Hey, Tourpreneurs, it's Mitch Bach, and just a quick note before we begin today's episode. Tourpreneur is currently sponsored by Google. We're thankful for their support of our community, and we are offering with them a completely free course helping you unlock the power and potential of Google's Things to Do program, which is specifically helping tour operators add their tours to Google in new ways that gives you new exposure and more direct bookings. To learn more, go to tourpreneur.com/Google. And as always, show notes, more resources, links to our newsletter, our business coaching community, and so much more are available on tourpreneur.com. Now to the episode.
Hello, everyone. My name is Renee Ventrease. I'm the owner of Cork and Keg Tours in Loudoun County, Virginia, just outside of Washington, D.C. And welcome to the Tourpreneur Podcast. I am very fortunate to be working with Chris and Mitch as a guest host podcaster. And one of the great things I get to do is talk to other operators just like you and I about what it is that we do, what our passion is within tourism. And so my guest today is someone who I am familiar with because met him through the Tourpreneur group years ago. He has planned 2 vacations of a lifetime for myself and my family. And I understand a lot about what his business does that's different. And I want him to tell you all about it. So I want to welcome and introduce to everyone Roberto D'Alessandro of Touring Italy. Hello, Roberto. How are you?
Hi, Renee. Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me here. Thank you, Chris and Tourpreneur, for allowing me this opportunity to speak and share my story with you. And I'm really happy to be here. Thank you.
I'm really happy you were available too, Roberto, because the way that you do business is very different and way more elevated than a lot of people do. And part of it may be that people don't try as hard, but part of it might be that they're not really aware of what it means to really elevate the level of service. So I want to dig right in to some of the things that I have found that you've done, and you're going to tell me a little bit about how you do them that way. So, for example, you cover the entire country of Italy. You've done tours for my family that went from, Florence and Rome and Bologna all the way down into the Amalfi Coast. So why do you have such a good grasp on not just your area where you're from in southern Italy, but on all of the country? Why are you so good at all of Italy?
Well, thank you. But first of all, I don't think I'm that great because I feel that there is still a lot of room of improvement and many things, many areas for me to that I should know better.
You're too humble, way too humble. I mean, if I went on and on in detail about what you've done for my family on our vacations, people would be booking you immediately. So you do something. Is it education? Travel a lot yourself. Why do you know the whole country?
Well, as I said, Italy, it is a small country, especially compared to such big country like United States. Although it's a huge touristic uh, destination for people from all over the world because it's so rich in art and culture and food and especially it's so diverse. It's a small country. If you look on the maps, it's not big, but it's so rich and full of different things, and it changes. Each region has its own character. It's a distinctive. It gives you a different feeling everywhere you go. It's a different landscape, different landmarks. So if for a traveler, I mean, when you come to Italy for the first time, I think it makes you feel like you're visiting many countries in one.
It's true. It's true. It's why we were able to do, we've spent almost a month total on vacations in Italy in the past 2 years. And okay, we did repeat a couple of restaurants that were just so amazing. But yeah, you're absolutely right. It really is so different, even from just the different wine regions or the different construction. pizza is even different. Pizza in Naples is not the same as pizza in Rome, and so it's just it's really fun. And what makes a trip special with you is that everywhere we went, you showed us how to really view the area like a local. So what do you do on your tours with the people who work for you? How do you ensure the type of experience that they're going to have in each region?
Well, I first of all I try to listen to my guests' needs and wishes very carefully, and for that part, I try to take as many notes as I can. Uh, I, uh, if I'm basically in touch through WhatsApp or Messenger. If it is through emails, it's easier to have everything recorded, but sometimes it's more difficult for me to actually understand and dig into everyone's mind. What do they expect me to deliver? What do they dream of Italy? What do I mean? Sometimes dreams are different than reality, and um, Italy is in everyone's dreams, I guess.
I think so.
But when you dream of something, you tend to make it even more beautiful than it maybe is. So our job is, first of all, very difficult because we need to at least be as good as people's dream.
Oh, you definitely have gone beyond that whenever we've been there. I think, part of it, one thing that I noticed is your guides. Like when we asked for a tour of Rome, we had somebody who was from Rome. When we did a tour of Pompeii, she was a Pompeian. So how did you develop these connections with all of these people who really know the areas that your guests want to go to?
Yeah. Well, the real, the real reason. Uh, the truth of the matter is that, of course, um, myself, I'm not a certified tour guide, so
Mhm.
I cannot be with Renee if Renee was my guest and paying me and show her inside the Vatican museums or inside the archaeological park of Pompeii. But I am myself, of course, licensed as a tour company and professional driver,
Mhm.
which is probably another topic. In Italy, takes a lot of time to become, a lot of effort.
Well, there are other tour operators who are going to see this who are either thinking about starting a business in Italy, a tour business, or are in kind of the same situation and trying to figure out how to really, grow their network. So it is important to understand that. So because it's a little bit different than it is in the States. So
It is very
kind of
different. Yeah, it is very different. Now we have a European law, I guess, in terms that regulates the job of being a guide, and basically anyone from any other European country who is licensed, I don't know, in Spain, can come and be a guide in Pompeii, inside Pompeii, with their own group, for example.
okay.
Which I think is fair, but only until a certain point. If you do it once a year with your own group, it's fine. If you if you move from Spain to be a guide in Italy, it could be also okay. But I have developed a large net, like you said, of trusted travel professionals throughout Italy, because I believe in the pride that they can put into their work. Because touring a place with someone who is a local and who's also a professional, who is certified, gives you a totally different level of service, because they usually they should put much more effort and pride into
Yeah.
it. So they may say those little tips that someone else just wouldn't know. So I try to.
Exactly what we found, and is that every single one of the guides you set us up with had exactly that. all the big tourist groups are going this way, and your guides are like, hey, this is where the locals, come when we come to, Rome or Naples, and the secret food tours and things like that. So yeah, so you've got a network of those types of guides all over Italy, and in just the major cities or in some of the small towns as well.
Well, some are also live in small towns, although I never push my sales. Meaning, uh, when I get contacted, especially through emails, by someone that I don't know and wants to do a trip in Italy and asks me for tours, um, often, very very often, almost every time, I don't know their budget. I don't know how many tours they can afford to have. So if they tell me one or two areas, I try to concentrate on those tours, and then I give them a little tip. Since you are in Florence, please know that you could also do that. But I don't necessarily say you can do this through us or through me or with me or with my guides, because I think uh, people just don't want to be pushed into this type of settings. These are experiences, and uh, on top of it, uh, when it comes to small towns, uh, I always try to remind my guests: be a traveler, don't be a tourist. So
Good
it's
distinction.
okay. It's okay to spend a couple hours on your own. You won't get lost. People won't. One we will not trap you. I mean, you are in a safe place. I mean, it's a small town. You just wander around. You grab a coffee. You sit down, have lunch. Today you also have Google Maps, so you cannot go get lost.
You know what was really great with your drivers? So they would actually tell us, okay, so this is where you're going. That Roberto has a reservation for you at this restaurant. And you can just I'm going to drop a pin, and then I will be able to, know you can know where I'm going to be, and I'll meet you back at this place around this time. So it was really, really easy to go and wander on our own, and then know where our driver that day was. I think it was Massimiliano. So know where he was sitting, waiting for us, and then just, driving through, he would like kind of slow down and show us, hey, look, this is something that most people don't know about, this piece of art. He actually took us to the Roman theater at one point that we didn't know it was around the corner from where we were standing. So your guides just really understand that it is about an experience for a travel, not, buying little Mona Lisa bobbleheads in a tourist square. So you really do focus on an experience over just a tour, and I love that you made that distinction. And it's something that some tour operators need to still remember and work on, is that you want them to experience your destination, not just see this one particular site. And you've created a real family around all the people who you work with, who are the drivers, the translators, and they just understand the area. So is that something that you think has been responsible for your success and how many tours you're able to do and repeat customers? What do you think makes your business, so successful? I know as one of your guests, that's what I thought. So what do you think is part of your secret that makes things best for your guests?
Well, thank you so much for your always super nice words about me and our travel services. I'm really flattered. I'm honored to listen to them. I've never enough of the of your words. Uh, although, well, I don't think I'm that successful, especially because I never settled for a certain amount of success. There is not such a thing, you know.
Yeah.
I can always get more, but not in terms of numbers. But I could always do better myself. So I'm a
Well, let's
perfect.
ask you a different way. What do you think your guests like most about doing tours with your company? What about that? What do your guests like best?
Well, what I've been hearing, to be honest, is the fact that I am always very fast in replying at all times through emails, chats, WhatsApp, Messenger. on the phone, at any hour, at any hour. So they really appreciate it. They see that there is someone there answering calls and texts and emails. So this builds trust, and it's the most important. So they know that there is someone here actually working for them, waiting for them, planning their trip, and I'm not I'm not just gonna disappear and take their money and and go away.
You're absolutely right, though. That trust for the very beginning is super important, because time is a commodity too, And so when you're trusting someone, you're flying all the way to Europe. You only have a certain amount of time to really enjoy yourself. So you want to work with someone that you can trust. So that's a great takeaway right there, Roberto, is you build that trust by having strong communication, and really understanding, what they want. So you make a big effort to make sure you understand what somebody needs and wants. So you were talking about some things that could get better. And one of the things that you said made me think about processes that a lot of times those of us, while we're in the, the industry, kind of forget about, like an intake form. Like, for example, to know what the person's budget is, or how many people are traveling, what are the ages of the travelers, and do they want to walk a lot or do they want to eat a lot, things like that. So do you think that that's one of the improvements that you would want to see with your business this year, is being able to understand the guest from the beginning a little bit better so that it's less back and forth?
Yeah, definitely. Yes, absolutely. That is, I don't know if it is a dream or a goal, actually, because I haven't set up.
Well, there's technology partners who also watch these podcasts. So there may be somebody out there who's got the kind of technology you need to, to create maybe a stronger intake form that almost interview your guests to find out what they want, so that way the first things that you send them make them feel like, oh, okay, this guy understands what I'm looking for. He knows that I only have this much to spend a day, and I want to be relaxed in this part, and I want to do, history at this part. So what is your background with tourism, Roberto? Did you go to school for tourism?
No, I actually did not take any training for tourism, except just being a traveler myself as much as I could in the early years of my youth.
Uh-huh.
I did go to school, but it was for diplomatic and international relations. And as I often joke with my guests, I'm doing my own international relations here.
We were definitely an ambassador for your country and definitely diplomatic and do right.
I have to be diplomatic. I have to be diplomatic to run my company. Otherwise, there could not be a company at all. So,
But yeah, that's fascinating. And I think a lot of us in tourism didn't start here, but there is something that was kind of a passion that ended up putting us here. So you've been in business how long? What year did you start your company?
I started exactly January 2nd, 2014. So this is already my ninth year on my own. I had previously worked in Italy as a tour director for a small American company doing tours in Italy. And then I quit and decided to be on my own. I'm still very grateful to my former boss, who taught me a lot. Although we are not speaking terms today, although if she ever listens to this podcast, she has to know that I'm grateful to her. That's important. Absolutely. She introduced me to this world of tourism, and I made a career out of it, a life better. I mean, because it's basically what provides for my family, for my kids, for my wife, and for my for people who work with me, for me. So this has become today. It's not an attempt. It's now I have the duty. I mean, of the responsibility for myself and for others. Uh, uh, this has to work. I mean, it cannot be a guess anymore.
Yeah,
But yeah,
well, the good part is that you have, you just have so much wealth of things to share in Italy, and the amount of knowledge that you have about what people can do whenever they go to, to different areas. just because someone's in Tuscany doesn't mean it's only about the wine. There's also food, there's history, there's, archaeological, wonders in the area. And, being able to give people a fuller picture of what your country's all about is part of what really does make your business special. I've planned vacation as an operator myself, but also as a traveler, for decades now. And the way that you do communicate with people and the depth of knowledge you have is a really big differentiator for your business. So I applaud you. I congratulate you for really doing some impressive things with how you make people feel and how you make them experience Italy. Let me ask you another question. I know that, 2020, bad things happened, and the pandemic really changed a lot of ways that we operate for tourism. So did the pandemic have a big change for you? I mean, you were in business for 6 years before, 2020 happened, and now you're back in business. We saw you back in 2021. So are there big differences in the way that you had to operate between before and after?
Well, first of all, I need to thank you again for your beautiful words that you spent about myself and about our services. I cannot thank you enough every time. So I gotta say this first.
You're
And
welcome.
thank you. And second of all, sorry if sometimes you see my head on the desk. I'm taking notes because there is a lot while you talk. I take notes because there is a lot that I would like to add later if I can.
You're looking at recipes. You're not fooling anyone. You're looking at funny little cats and dogs. I'm hip to what you're doing, Roberto.
Thanks so much.
So yeah, how things change?
Yeah, COVID. Yeah, I should answer about COVID. Um, well, today is January 9th, 2023, and I am grateful as every day to be here. And if we got through COVID, uh, I mean, we should all be happy. Uh, we should only be sad for those who are not here today with us because of COVID. So, first of all, we're talking about a minus um, event like the loss of money, which is not as as bad as losing your health or life, of course. Having that said, I am very grateful that I came into 2020 with, like we say in Italian, spalle forti, strong shoulders.
Oh, no, I like that.
But I mean, I don't think that I was or I am rich. Just that I had 3 good years of work. 2017, 2018, and 2019 were 3 very good years, growing and growing and growing for my company. And of course, 2020, as for the rest of the tourism in the world, I guess we all expected a huge year for 2020, but of course, it did not happen. And thankfully, I do have an amazing way to remember the year. My very first son was born in February 2020, so 2020 can never be a bad year for me and for my family. Uh, Leaving that aside for a minute, but of course, being my friend, that my family is who I am, and you're also my family, actually. So that it means the world to me. So uh,
Did you have to change some of the ways that you did business from before? Aside from, we had the mask and we had some things, but did Italy have regulations that made you have to think differently and change the way that you were doing business?
well, if I had any business during COVID, I actually could have worked because in Italy, technically, I was considered, my company was considered an essential.
Oh,
This will make you laugh because it's strange. An essential work, the job,
wow.
an essential job, because technically, um, my company, we are not even registered in Italy as a tourism company, but we are part of the transportation
Mhm.
company. So
Yeah, that's a
we
good way to
were,
put
yeah, we were aligned in the same. We are in the same law of a taxi, basically.
it. Okay.
And if you are in the street, a public bus, a taxi, has always be there for people. So technically, but technically not in the reality, we could have worked if we had any guests, anyone signing up. Of
Mhm.
course, we didn't have anybody because we referred then our clientele, our model of business only to a deluxe, luxury, high-end clientele, not necessarily super high budgets, not necessarily. You don't have to be rich to afford our services. That I want to make clear this. I want to make clear this because we try to meet everyone's budget first,
Yeah.
and of course everyone's needs and wishes. As I was saying, and trying to remember your question and answer it, you asked me if I had to change anything during COVID. Well, of course, we had to wear masks, as you remember, all over 2021 in our cars, in our vehicles as a professional driver, and so did our guests. But it was a really and of course have a sanitizer, but it was a minor change. So I wouldn't say this was really important. Although 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 what COVID brought me to think is that our industry, of course, tourism in general is very fragile. Is the first one that goes down when there is an international crisis. There is a war or terrorism or a pandemic, anything. We are the first to be shot in the head.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a horrible analogy, but I know what you mean. So
Yeah.
what happened? So do you have multiple streams that you develop for your company in case something like this happens again and tourism goes away? How are you staying agile? How are you making sure that you can stay afloat in case something else happens? I think that is a big lesson that the pandemic taught us is that you have to, diversify some of your revenue streams. So what have you done to protect yourself from something else like that?
Well, thank you for the question. I wish I had done more, but I haven't done a lot because most of my financial resources over the years, I've decided to put it into my project, my goal, and my company, Touring Italy, to keep it growing, growing, growing. If you speak to my wife, she knows better. We live in a very tiny apartment. You've been here with two little kids, and we don't even own it. I mean, we don't even have a mortgage because I've put all my money into my company just to have these years growing and growing as much as we can. Um, uh, I wish, I mean, if there were ever another international crisis, we should have cash in our hands, in our banks, to make it through 1, 2, 3 years without working.
Yeah.
And you should always think about that. And also, yeah, diversifying is a huge challenge
Mhm.
for me because this would mean refer my services to a different type of clientele, perhaps a business clientele, perhaps during winter, during my low season. And I'm trying to do this. I'm trying to be more known in my community. As I was telling Chris before you connected earlier, since I love soccer, I love football. A huge passionate about soccer. Uh,
Yeah.
this year, I was even a little sponsor for my local team, my soccer local team, and but it's nothing. But just I want people around me who know my name uh, not to wonder anymore what I do because they may see me around as I was telling you yesterday, last night. They may see me around every day at all different hours of the day, taking my kids to school, going to the grocery store, at, like if I was 80 years old man.
Like, when does this guy work?
What does this guy do? Does it even work? So,
That's another good takeaway, Roberto, is being a part of that community, making sure the community knows who you are and supports you. If something were to happen where the tourism revenue stream went away, your community knows you and will, also be there for you. And there may be, some other opportunities, maybe go to schools to talk to children about what it means to be a professional driving company or an entrepreneur, or, just some ways to stay connected. And then the other thing he said that was very important um, was the freedom that you've got, like with your job. Like you are able to, take your kids to school and be a part of the community, sponsor that team. So is that one of the reasons you still do this? Because it is hard, right? It's difficult sometimes to make sure you're finding the right clients and to make sure the money's coming in. So why do you still do this? What would it be easier to go into, a different field, and why tourism when it's such a challenge?
Well, of course, it's a huge passion of mine. As I said, since I was a little kid, I love to travel everywhere in the world. And every time I have a request, a new guest, I try to put myself in their shoes. I try to think of their expectations. And I've been especially to America, to the United States, and which is still today currently where the vast majority of my guests is from. So it's important for me to know your culture and to understand where you come from, and the reason why I do this job and why I love it is because I believe that feelings that of course can come through experiences from our life experiences, so from travels, can stay with us probably forever. So if you experience a very good time in Italy doing a wine tasting that I recommended, or even with me personally, even better if I can, it really enriches me as a human being, as a person. It makes me go through the day. I mean, it makes me forget all the troubles in the world. If I see someone smiling, someone's happy because I set up an experience, a tour, there is nothing that really makes me happier, really, because I know that they're going home and they're bringing what I did for them home with them. So it's huge. I mean, something that really I find difficulties explaining with words. It's something that it can stay in your heart forever. And like you and I, you see, we've become such close friends, family, and I feel richer, much richer if I had a fat bank account. Now that I know you, I'd rather have you in my life than a fat bank account. Much better.
Those are strong words. Well, let's see. Next time I come, just do the whole trip for free, and then you've got.
Absolutely. We'll do what we can.
You're so right, though. It really is wonderful to have that feeling of having enriched someone else's life, which also brings us enrichment. So in the industry, I think a lot of us do it for that reason. And it's funny, so many people think, oh, they have this many vehicles, or they travel all the time, they must be really wealthy. And it's not true. The bank is really wealthy because they're the ones who own the vehicle. We're just driving it and doing what we have to do. But you're right. I mean, that feeling that you get when you really do make someone happy and know that they're talking about that trip they took with you for years to come, and they refer others and they come back again. That's exactly how we build our business too. So it's another good takeaway is that you want to make sure that whenever you have people there, remember that you are going to be a part of their memories forever, whether or not it's not that great or it's spectacular. You're a part of a really important, impactful moment in someone's life. So And I love how seriously you take that responsibility. I think that you really do internalize and you feel that I've got to make sure that these people have the time of their lives because they're trusting me with something so precious as time. Time is definitely, I think since 2020, time has become more precious than money to a lot of us. And so we want to make sure that when we are spending our money, we're doing it in a way that's going to be fantastic. So thank you for caring so much about your people, about your clients. Tell us a little bit about the kind of services you offered. We had talked about the budget, trying to reach, fit everyone's budget. How do you, what is it that you do that makes it so you can go from somebody who maybe is a single traveling student who might need to stay in a hostel to, retirees who have, an endless budget to do, I don't know, crazy things like helicopter rides. So how do you have such a swing in what you have available? Tell us a little bit about the services you offer.
Well, thank you again for a beautiful question, very useful for our conversation. Well, of course, it's you touch another great great point of my activity, of my mission here, of my job, um, because it's the most often question that I get asked. Do you do this? What do you do? I mean, even through emails, even by Americans, even after they visit my website, they wonder if and how I do certain travel services. So I strive every day to be understood and be as clear as possible in the large net of the internet.
Mm-hmm.
And I try to be as clear as I can. We cover everywhere in Italy, every region. We provide private drivers and private guides everywhere in Italy. So from the minute you land, you arrive at an airport in Italy, Rome, Milan, Naples, Florence, anywhere. We can have a driver right there with a beautiful car, clean, with a sign at the arrival terminal, holding a sign with your name on it, right there, and taking you to your hotel. You relax, you set at your hotel. The next day, you take a beautiful tour with us, you explore the area. Or if you are in a beautiful artistic city like Rome, Florence, Venice, we have local guides, and I recommend to take a walking tour, which is less expensive if you stay already in the city center. You just have someone picking you up on foot, walking, and you do a couple of museums or a food tour or a wine tasting or a cooking class. You have someone escorting you through the narrow alleys of a beautiful city. Or in Venice, you have someone booking your gondola service for 30 minutes, 1 hour, visiting the Jewish ghetto rather than the Doge's Palace. I mean, we try to mix major landmarks with some little, less known sites, basically. And what I try to make as clear as possible is that we wish to know as many information as we can from a guest when we get a text or email or a call, because it's so important for us.
We hit the nail on the head there, Roberto, when you said that you mix it up. So you may have a smaller budget, so maybe that means it's a tour with others instead of private, walking instead of driving, mixing up, certain things like the museums that aren't very expensive, and then they can go and explore, the city center on their own. So you really do. You create freedom for your guests. I can definitely attest to that, where we had several days baked in where there was nothing planned, but you still said, okay, well, if you're still going to be in this area, here are some places where the locals love to eat. If you want me to make a reservation, I will make sure that you've got a table. So you really made it so that people can understand how to enjoy Italy on their own, along with maybe putting one big, exciting, expensive thing in there. But all of these things that you can do that don't cost a lot of money. So a great takeaway for operators to remember is, it doesn't have to be all or nothing. It doesn't have to be, bringing them sandwiches and paper bags for every day and they can only walk around. If you know enough about your destination, you can mix and match some things that cost a little bit more along with some things that are less expensive. So even someone on a budget can really have an amazing experience. And it's because of what you know about the areas. I tell everyone who I recommend to you, everyone I refer, I say, listen, I think this guy has a photographic memory because when you're driving from the airport, you'll pass a building and you'll know exactly what that building is, what the history is. And, you'll pass some ruins or something interesting looking and he's like, oh yeah, that's this. And this is why it's important in Italy. Or, or sometimes I would ask questions like, oh, what's that? And you're like, that's nothing. That's a coffee shop. So,
Sometimes I make it up.
yeah, exactly. Or make it up. Yeah, they don't know the difference. So yeah, so you really do find a way to make people feel heard and understood. You make us feel, you make us feel like we can afford to have a beautiful vacation, even if we're on something of a budget. And we also feel when we're with your guides or with you, we're with somebody who actually is from there and knows the area, not someone who read a book about it and then is just regurgitating, just spitting out what they were told. No, we're people who grew up there. So it really does make a huge difference. And the fact that you can, take people throughout the entire country means it's easier for us as fellow operators who are going to be asked, hey, I'm going to go to Italy sometime, Lene, do you know anyone? I say, I got a guy. Doesn't matter where. Well, I want to go in the north. Yeah, I got a guy. I want to go to Sicily. I got the same guy. So it is really unique. Most people, even, some smaller countries, sure, they'll know a lot. But I was talking to people from Portugal. I think, isn't Portugal smaller than Italy? And
Yes.
there are some who only knew the Douro region or Porto or Lisbon. They didn't do all three, So it's really special that you do the entire country well, not just a little bit. You're not Googling tour guides in Venice if people want to go to Venice. You know someone in Venice who knows Venice, who does Venice, So I think that's very special. What did you go to school for, Roberto? If it wasn't tourism and it wasn't, it wasn't in this industry, what did you study and what were your plans before you ended up becoming touring Italy?
Well, I'm still Roberto. Touring Italy is Roberto, but really, there's still a very long way to be more known. So, and one more thing: the more you talk, the more I keep writing and keep adding things that I would would love to say. Like talking to you, it's so amazing that uh, I would have really hundreds of topics later to listen.
What's in your note? What's on your list?
I'll tell you later. Okay, I try to. I want to try to keep it to your question. Try to answer your question. Well, I went to school. I went to school because I wanted to make my father proud, and which sounds.
That's such an Italian man answer. I love it. I love it.
I wanted to make them proud of me because I was and I still am the last of three boys, and through high school I was only into fun and didn't even care about books, nothing. And being my father, a high school teacher, very well known in my town. I knew that through my high school years, I was kind of ashamed for him because everyone knew me and they couldn't wrap their head around the fact that I was Professor D'Alessandro's son. How can you be?
Not for a kid?
But to me, I mean, I wasn't doing anything really bad. I mean, I was just, careless kid, only into sport and girls and fun and going out. Just, but I did love going to school because I love meeting my friends every day. I would hate being at home on my own, nothing to do. And then with university, I knew that I had to take a path. I knew that there was no good job available for me with a high school diploma out there. So I have to do something. I wasn't really good in math. I couldn't go to med school because I was scared of blood, of my own blood. So, I love to travel, and I said, this when I heard of international diplomatic relations, this name really made me fall in love with it. It made me dream. I thought, wow, I can travel, I can be a diplomat, I can do this, I can do that, I can be rich, I can be known.
Yeah.
It made me dream. None of it happened, of course. But I did the study and complete it in 5 years as I was supposed to, because I took it very, very seriously. And especially I made learning English a huge mission of my life.
So that's made a huge difference in your clientele for your business. So you all roads kept leading you toward tourism.
You're right. Because while I was doing that, I had to learn English. I kept telling myself that I had to be extremely good. So that no average level of English would have been good enough for my career, whichever career I was going to have. So I moved to Washington D.C. for over 6 months. I had I had the time of my life. I had such a wonderful experience. I took an amazing English class in Arlington, Virginia. I was in the metro, on the bus every day, exploring on my own a new neighborhood, new friends, going out with my former girlfriend at the time, which I'm extremely grateful for. She was really an amazing phase of my life before I met my wife, so she cannot be jealous.
Different.
Yeah, different.
Tell us a little bit about what you love to do most with your work for your guests. What makes it really special for you, and what do you find that they seem to appreciate the most about the way you run Touring Italy?
Well, it's a beautiful question. I don't know. I have to think. Of course, like I said probably before, the ultimate goal is to have everyone happy and being thanked at the end of the trip, and be kept in their memories. That is the most amazing gift that I can get from my job, which only sometimes feels like a job only for certain aspects, but not every time. Because working with my guests is 99% of the times is pure joy and fun. Of course, the stress may come from situations being all on top of each other. We work with a season which tends to be, thankfully, very busy. But those days, your head is all over the place. I mean, you have. I have people at the same time all over Italy doing tours, and you have to think of everything. You need to think ahead. You need to think before a problem exists. You need to prevent it from happening. You need to check millions of things at a time, and because you strive to have everything working perfectly for your guests. I mean, that's the mission. That's why sometimes I stress myself about that, and I can be a little bit of a pain for my friends who work with me and for me.
Well, you like to make sure the details are correct and make it better for everyone. I think the logistics are something that all of us can relate to. Logistics are the core of what we do at the end of the day. We're
Right.
coordinating, like you said. So let's see. You could have a shore excursion where you've got somebody picking up someone who's coming off of a cruise and has to be back on a very specific schedule. You have people who are taking multi-day, tours with you. You have people who your team is just driving for, right? And then you also have others like with my family, planning full, multi-day vacations that have everything from tours and excursions and dining and maybe it's ferries to Capri or Ischia, things like that. So you can have all of those at the same time. I mean, how many people do you have working at one time, like on your busiest day? How many different tours would you be running, on one day?
Well, a good two, three hands if I had a third hand
Yeah.
on a busy day. Like you said, perfectly, like always. You know my business better than myself.
Well, I gotta say, I'm a little addicted to touring Italy your way because you just made everything we wanted come true, and then some things that were just surprises that made it even better. I'm gonna share one with people because people need to understand that this is you take tourism and you take giving travelers an experience to the next level. So there was a day that we didn't have anything planned. We were in Sorrento. And, you knew that you were going to see us the next day for our cooking class, but you said, hey, I know you don't have anything on the schedule today, but if you want, I can pick you up in the square in Sorrento and take you to this fun, great experience. And then you can even walk back down to the town. It's very nice. We're like, sounds great. Let's do it. So it was myself, my husband, and my son. And so you took us to, is it La Fargente? Was that the name of the farm?
La Sorgente, it means the source.
The source. Okay, well, and that applies because they made everything, right? They grow their own vegetables, they make the cheese, and we got to see Maria making cheese. And so it was just so nice. First of all, you guys, when you walk in there, Roberto's a rock star. They're like, hey, Roberto, ¿cómo está? I mean, like, big hugs. And, when he walks in, his people are treated like kings and queens. So we get to a table, we get a jug of wine, they bring us out some food. So then we go and watch Maria, making the cheese. And she's been doing this for I don't know how long. How long have you been taking people there, Roberto?
Yes. So they're my friends now, like you, because I've been going there since 2012. So
Wow.
I've been over 10 years already. I know everyone in the family. It's a very large family, and they are really such a big example of how families should be. They help each other. They are always there for each other. They do fight. Sometimes they do see them
That's
fighting,
just
but
honest.
yeah, they work a fast-paced, business too. Certain times, like that day when you came, and they need to be up and running every day. And I love to bring my guests there because they see how like a normal family can live and grow natural products in their own land, actually in the center of Sorrento, which is amazing. And this brings me um, to think of another aspects of our jobs, which I think we haven't talked about, but it is really crucial. Complaints and reviews. If you allow me a few seconds, um,
Yeah, of course.
since you brought this up. They're my friends, and I've been telling them everything. Over 10 years, I basically had everyone super happy about this experience.
Mhm.
Uh, One time, lately in October, I had a couple on a short excursion on a private tour from Naples, going there for lunch, and they booked the tour. I guess I can say the name of the company since it's a big company. It's a Shore Excursions Group, which I I'm proud and happy to cooperate with since 2017. They booked it there, and they had lunch there, and they thought it wasn't a good experience. So since you were talking so highly of it, like 99% of the guests that I brought there, this makes me think of how subjective, I mean, uh, these experiences can be. Uh, we don't sell products. We provide travel experiences uh,
Right.
to to people in the world. Everyone's in the world is different, has a different background, different language, different expectations, and you know, even something that is so strong and so good for everyone. I was so confident. I am confident that 99% of the people love it. There can be one person that does not like it, complains about it, wants a refund, or writes a bad review about it. So um, this is like of course, when it happens multiple times, it needs to be raise a red flag, like you say in English.
Sure.
But
No.
this wasn't the case. But this just makes me think of how fragile our business is, because it's all based on impressions, thoughts, feelings, and it can. Even the same experience can be also experienced in a different way, depending on when in the year you get there, which
Sure.
time of the day, and how you feel when you. That of course there is millions of other aspects, that personal aspects. Uh, you need to be prepared, I guess, to have a travel experience. You need to be open, and um, as I was saying, one important thing about my services, if you allow me, you were saying that I provide short excursions as well as multi-day trips, and that's very true. And you also said before that I do this on a private base as well as group tours, and this is something that I'm really, really proud of, because I am still a very small company. 2023 is going to be my first year with a team of 5 people working directly only for me.
That's
So
great.
I'm still very small, you see. And well, even though I was and I'm still am very small, already 4 years ago, actually 5 years ago, I allowed myself. Uh, I proposed a small group tour of the Amalfi Coast, which is something that in Naples, as a short excursions, only big companies with over 50, 100 cars do.
Mm,
I, I,
right.
because I take risks. I love to take risks. That's why also I love doing this job. I thought that since short excursions can be so expensive for cruise passengers, uh,
Well,
especially private short excursions. I wanted I wanted to have a good service at a reasonable rate.
okay.
So basically, what I propose is for my guests to experience a small tour. So 2, 4, 6, 8 people max in our van, uh, for less the money that they would pay on board of a cruise, and they would end up on a big bus if they book on through the cruise line.
I see like a boutique, a little type of thing that they offer on the cruise, but you do it for a smaller group and for less, so people have a different kind of experience.
Yes, and it works greatly both ways because they get to experience something on a basically on a private level, spending so little money, and we get to actually make more money um than if we did a private tour. Uh, on top of it, we personally have the opportunity to meet different people on the same day. People who guess who they do not know one another. So
Right.
this is really enriching. Sometimes it is challenging. It is very challenging.
Absolutely.
Because of course everyone says something different and wants to do something different, but we try to keep everyone on track. We say, hey, we only have 7 hours. Let's make the most out of it. Let's make the most out of our time together. It takes already 1 hour and a half to travel from Naples port to the Amalfi Coast and back. So uh, we try to have everyone agreeing on the same itinerary.
Right.
Of course, we make recommendations, and I think it works. It works great. They feel safe with us because unfortunately, Naples is has still a bad reputation, especially online.
Yeah.
People look up Naples online. Um, when they come to Naples, they may ask me, why is Naples so famous, so unsafe? They say that it's unsafe, and the minute they meet us, they feel perfectly safe because
Yeah.
I mean, they get into our clean vans. We explain the day. I mean, we tell them what to expect, what time they're gonna be back. Like you said, it's very important to meet um, cruise lines and cruise ships schedules. And one more thing, you said a beautiful quote. I got a guy. Uh, I got a guy, which I'm so thankful for.
Yeah.
I think, like you said, it for on if I were a guest, if I were someone planning a trip to Italy, I think it's really convenient to have
Yeah.
one stop shop, like you say in English, right?
Exactly. Yes.
Yes.
It's so convenient.
I mean, they don't have to ask anybody else. I can cover everything. I can all help them with hotels, transfers, tours, dinner reservations, skip line tickets for museums. They can even ask.
New slogan. I think it's your new slogan, Roberto. No matter where you want to go in Italy, you got a guy.
You got a guy. And another thing that we said earlier was the budget. Of course everyone has a different budget, and we try to meet everyone's budget. And
Mhm.
sometimes I propose either only the driver service or the guide service, depending which one is needed the most, especially if I see them on a budget. And
Yeah.
being myself on the field, being a driver, having met so many guests in the previous years, has allowed me the opportunity um, to understand that it's very easy. I mean, it can be very easy to give a tour. Um, uh, you just need to be very clear. You need to be giving meeting points to guests, and when that saves both parties time and money. If you don't want to have a guided tour, someone like walking with you all the time. Um, Another big issue for this business, I think, that I'm experiencing also this year, and I'll tell you why, is trust. Like you said, trust, of course, because well, thankfully we have the internet, right? So I can be found even though I live in a forgotten little town in south of Italy. But then, of course, there are millions of other companies like me out there, and doing a similar activity like mine. So I need to stand out. I need to build a trusting relationship with guests every time, every time. So every time is different. And since like I have since bad experiences have happened to me, and I've explained it to you earlier. Clients not paying because I was too easy. I wasn't asking for a credit card. This year, I'm asking a credit card to anyone. And
Absolutely. I think that's the hard part when you're talking about 99% of the business being wonderful because it's with your guests. It's the back end that can really sometimes be stressful. How long it takes to maybe get licenses, and permissions from, the government. Making sure that you're matching up the timing and the drivers with the right kind of guests. There's a lot that goes into the back end of it before you have this beautiful, smooth experience, So I think those logistics can really be hard to deal with. Let me ask you two more questions. One question is, sorry, excuse me, I sneezed a couple times. But one of my questions is, so going forward, this year you said you're changing some things, like, collecting more of the credit cards and doing things just to make it easier on those communications. When you're talking about having someone who does have a bad experience, this is something a lot of tour operators struggle with. What do you do if somebody's going to is giving a bad review or saying, oh, you took me to this place, I really didn't like it? What is your solution to that? How do you handle those kinds of complaints?
well, my first reaction is curiosity. I want to know why, how, why they are complaining. I want to know. And this is another issue. When this happens through um, direct services that we operate directly, it's much easier because the guest picks up the phone, calls me, Roberto. Yeah, today wasn't so great, and
Yeah.
I'm super happy to be there 30 minutes, 1 hour listening to what happened. Even feelings, like we said, even feelings. Last year, I had a, a beautiful a beautiful, nice family from the US. Um, they were doing tours in Rome, Vatican's and Colosseum, and everything went smoothly like planned. But they simply did not enjoy the tour because of the attitude of the guide.
Okay.
So, you know, when it comes to these things, technically, they were not, there were, in their conditions, they were not entitled to a refund. But I did give it to them a full refund because I saw that they were unhappy, and I listened to the lady almost an hour on the phone, and she told me every little thing that they felt as a family when they were with that guy.
Interesting.
Well, you know, when you and I also, of course, heard from the guide another hour on the phone talking, and um, everyone has a different opinion, of course, of what went on, and I'm in the middle.
Truth is in the middle somewhere, right?
Um, uh, uh, I tend to give my guests the right, and I tend to give refunds when I'm asked. Although I know that I should be a little stronger on this, because of course there are also there may be people out there who take advantage
Oh, sure.
of the fact that they may see me too soft on the
Yeah.
matter.
Yeah.
But when I see someone unhappy about an experience, we talk about something that is not tangible.
Yeah.
It's a,
Like you said, it's really.
it's a,
Well, and I think that what you did really well with those situations is listening. I mean, you listen to the guide, you listen to the guest, and then you do whatever you can, to try to make it better. Can't go back, in time, obviously, but it's great that you listen. I think the biggest thing people need to take away is what really sets your business apart and keeps people coming back is that that's plain and simple. You communicate, you listen, you know the areas, and you create these experiences, but you make them feel like they can trust you to do the best. And if it doesn't go perfectly, they can trust you to address it. So in any relationship, I think that's what's most important. How do you stay up in tourism on things? What are you doing to make sure that you know about trends or are, connecting with other tour operators? What are some of the things that you've got planned to continue your relationships within our industry?
Well, as I mentioned you last night when we were friendly chatting over our phones, finally, this year in March, in a couple of months, I'm gonna go to Berlin to attend the Arrival event in Europe this year, which was postponed since 2020. So it's been 2 years. It's been 3 years. 3 years. I've been working for it for 3 years, and I had lost my flight tickets, my hotel reservations, but luckily Arrival got my ticket. So at least that one is saved. So I'm using my credit to attend this event. And I'm going to go there. I'm going to fly to Berlin and I'm going to hope to meet as many as other tourpreneurs like me. Hopefully meet Chris. I'm going to ask, I don't know. And or there is a bunch of hidden opportunities out there that we don't even know. And I just need to meet the right people who are as passionate as me about tourism. So I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna have fun, and that's what I try to do. I try to attend events now that we can. I try to be active on social media, of course, Facebook and Instagram especially, and I try to see the new trends. Just talking through people. I be there. I mean, try to watch the news. I try to talk to my guests whenever I meet them. I listen to their trips, to what they do, to what they expect. It's interesting also when they doing short excursions. In one trip, it's like doing many trips because they stop every day in a different country. So they tell me all different type of stories.
That is wonderful. Well, you definitely have an amazing way of connecting with people, and your social media, your page has over 6,000, followers on it. You've got a really active group where we all talk about touring and about Italy and sharing pictures and photos of things. And your Instagram, you show images. So I think we can kind of close this out and let you understand that communicating with your guests is really important. I hope everybody goes and looks at your social media, because when they see the beautiful images that you post, they're going to understand why people are drawn to you, why they're drawn to your company, and why Touring Italy is one of the best companies I've ever worked with for tourism. So I just want to thank you for making time to talk with us today. And we're going to go over some of the takeaways, when we talk about, when this episode comes out, a little bit more about what it is that you do to stand out. Do you have any last things you'd like to share with us? We've got about 30 seconds left.
Wow. The only thing that I can say is a huge thank you to you and Chris for allowing me this opportunity. This was my first time, but I really enjoyed it. And I'm so grateful. So grateful.
Well, thank you, Roberto.
Grazie. I feel like I've shared only a small piece of what I do, because of course you understand, our head is all over the place. We need to take care of so many aspects. So
Well, we're going to have to make a part 2.
all right. I count on that.
Grazie mille. It was so awesome talking to you and introducing you to everyone. Thank you to Mitch and to you, Chris, for Tourpreneur, for this opportunity on the podcast. And we're looking forward to another episode, another day. In the meantime, ciao.
Grazie mille. Ciao.